Can you see my screen? James, you got a positive. Okay, great. So I just want to welcome all of you to this next level career growth. This will be a summary of the 11 and a half years I've been doing this work and designed specifically for you. This is interactive. This is raise your hand and we'll have a conversation about it. If it's something that I'm going to cover either later tonight or later in the week, I'll give you the very short answer and tell you that I'm going to cover it later in the week. And if there's some dialogue going on about your specific situation, then we'll certainly have that. And I also may say to you, hey, let's have an offline conversation about that. That seems to be something that would require a little more attention and a little more detail to get a better understanding of what's going on. So I will turn this into the handy dandy PowerPoint display. And next level career growth, again, define, design, and step into the work you were made for. Today, we're going to talk about getting paid in your career purpose, not for, but in your career purpose. What's next for you? Some of you are in different situations, and you may know others who are happily along in their career, which is a great thing, but realize that only about 25–30% of people are really happy with what they're doing. The rest have some or significant levels of disagreement or dissonance, whatever it might be, related to what they're doing. So here's what we're going to do each of the nights this week. Tonight, get paid for your purpose or in your purpose. Tomorrow is about crafting your value proposition. What's your key selling point? Day 3, Wednesday, is about networking and outreach, doing it in a much smarter, more efficient, and effective way. And I just want to welcome Chris in here. Chris, welcome. We're just getting started. I'm on the first agenda page, so you can jump right in. If you can get on camera, that would be great. If you can't, certainly understood. Day 4, Thursday, interviewing and negotiating. There are a lot of people who think they're really good interviewers, but I find that they're just good talkers, not necessarily interviewers, and making the key points to the hiring managers as to why they're the right people or individuals for the job. Then Friday's a wrap up. Turn this week into your breakthrough year. So for tonight, and this is volunteer responses, by the way, what's most important to you right now in your current career job or in your projected future career job? And any of you who want to answer, you can take yourself off mute and go ahead. And if not, I will continue.
To make enough money to where I can like pay my tithes and offerings in abundance without feeling like a budget strain.
Okay, so more coin. We will certainly get to that in terms of interviewing and negotiating. But one of the things that you'll see is this is a kind of like today is going to be like the foundation of your house. Tomorrow is going to be putting the first floor up, the studs and then the sheetrock. And then Wednesday is going to be putting the roof on, and then Thursday is going to be putting all the other pieces into it. So this is very iterative in terms of how it works. And it's very much a marketing and sales exercise. So if you don't do one of the first phases properly, it'll come to bite you in the butt later on. And this, James, I think you and I have been working together a little bit, and you've seen this based on some of the work that we've done, but we'll get to that tomorrow. Anybody else? Current job, future job. And Yasmin, I know this is all like next for you. Yasmin is a recent graduate from my alma mater. And if you want to make a comment, great. If not, no big deal. But Chris, Betty,
So,
Paula,
yes.
go ahead.
So my current job as a family service counselor, I'm in sales, selling cemetery property. But what I'd like to do is open up my own business.
Okay.
And I don't know how to transition because I've been doing this for so many years, which Bill did help me get this position 9 years ago. I'm looking to now do something that I earn on my own, and I'm my own, entrepreneur and boss. I'm tired of the changes within corporate. Every 3 years, they're selling company, they're changing our pay structure, and I'm losing money each and every year, but working harder. So I need to revamp and move out.
So if I could summarize, it would be more compensation for your efforts without the politics and all the gyrations that go on with companies buying and selling each other. And the third thing is you want to have a significant level of autonomy in what you do and get paid well for it.
Sounds about right.
Sounds all right. Okay, so we've nailed that. And Paula, just if you don't mind, Paula sells cemetery plots to families, oftentimes when the about to be deceased is not going to make it. So there's a huge level of client service, emotional intelligence, sensitivity to the people that she's interacting with, and she's done very, very well. And if I can say this, Paula, one of the reasons that you and I are on tonight is that we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about how your income has been significantly slashed based on the compensation plan
Oh,
being rearranged.
yes.
Okay. So, Chris, Betty,
I would say for me, definitely career advancement, being compensated for the next role. Like Paula had mentioned, kind of um, trying to increase that amount of money, and same thing like what James said, trying to get navigate by in today's world with increases like money's staying the same, but you're asked to do more.
mhm.
Everything is more expensive. So trying to grow into that next role, I think, is most important for me.
And Chris, for everybody else, what is it that you're doing now, and what would you be looking to do in the near future?
I am a creative director for a smaller marketing agency.
Mhm.
Um, I'm still trying to figure out what the next step is. I do know smaller agencies not for me. Coming from larger corporate companies, yes, I kind of learned the hard way. Benefits are way more expensive.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm trying to get away from that. It's been about a year since I transitioned into this role, so looking to get back into a larger company where things don't hurt as much, I guess you can say.
Interesting that Paula has been working with larger companies and wants to get out, and you want to get in for a variety of reasons. I mean, you have, young children and all of this, and everybody's situation is different. And I always say that there's no right or wrong answer unless you tell me you're going to rob a bank or, start selling illicit drugs or taking people out on the street corner. Other than that, it's all you. All right. My only role in any of this is to help you develop a clear direction and then a strategy and a plan to get there. Okay. Yasmin, go ahead. Thanks, Chris.
I'm hoping to find a career that has like where I can grow into what I'm hoping to end with, and possibly starting with that would be ideal with some of the, so I'm like hopefully going to interview this week for a company that I'm looking at, and it's for the role that I'm hoping to get at a like starter level, and then potentially can climb up in a company that is more customer oriented rather than money oriented is helpful, but I think I'm just maybe naive because I'm starting my career, but hoping to help people rather than hurt them, I guess.
And what is your background right now? What position are you interviewing for that you really are looking to land?
I'm interviewing for a co-op in the fall for a product management role.
Okay. And currently you are,
Currently, I have one semester left and then I'll graduate in December, or I can do the co-op and then graduate in the spring.
okay. And with what degree?
Industrial and management engineering with a dual in economics.
Okay. And I just saw Irina, I think you're about to, well, I just let her in. We'll see if that happens or not. But either way, okay. So this is helpful. So we're seeing a broad cross section of what's happening in the working world, just with the 5 people who are on this call. And Betty, I don't know if you can hear me or you want to respond, but again, just to get a grounding of what it is that you're up to and what you'd want to be doing going from there. I just admitted somebody else who doesn't seem to be. Oh, here she is. Okay. All right. Irina, if you can hear me, just let
Hi.
me know. Okay. Hello. We're just doing introductions right now. And Betty,
Yeah.
go ahead. And Irina, if you hear Betty, then you'll know where we've been with the other 5 people on the call. So, Betty.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Irina.
I'm basically, as many years you've known me and we've had so many conversations, I just basically want to monetize everything that I have learned through, my multi-industrial work that I have done, how I can monetize it.
Okay.
And I've started to do that actually. I've just this past month, people have come to me and they're like, well, can you promote this for me? Can you promote that for me? I told them, I'm launching a new business and if you want me to, do PR work for you, I'm going to charge you for it. So we'll see. But I want to
Betty is
expand on that.
right. Just to expand on what you're saying, Betty's done a lot of nonprofit work, a lot of political campaign work, and she is the main organizer behind the Nowruz Persian Day Parade that happens in New York City and appeared on Fox News. When was it? About a month ago?
I appeared in March
Okay.
twice.
So a month. Okay. Again, as a promotion for the Persian Day Parade. And she has a background with other healthcare, marketing, and sales experience besides that. So, and I'll say this, Betty, just Betty's kind of in transition because, like she was just saying, people are used to her doing things for nothing. And now that she wants them to pay her, it becomes a little more difficult of a conversation. So it will happen. I'm pretty confident of that. Irina, go ahead.
Yes, right now I'm working for Express Scripts, and I am being worked to the bone. And I really would like to take the talent that I have. I'm in marketing. I'm also an artist and a writer. And I want to inspire people to do good in the world. That's basically my whole thing going from now into the future.
Okay, great. Thanks. So you can see just with the 7 people who are on this line, a tremendous cross section of what the working world is like. And we're going to go through all of this in the 5 days, and we'll repeat a few things here and there as necessary, but I'm going to move on for now. So today's agenda is all about defining your purpose. And this is, again, the key word in this is your, because everybody's is different. Who are you now? What are your dreams? Where are you now? Where do you want to be? What are your search objectives? You want to stay in the same career? I had a conversation earlier today with somebody who absolutely loves what he does, but he's just so fed up with the organization he's been working with for the last 5 years. Is there a career change? Do you want to use the skills that you've learned and done well at and then transfer them into another field, or maybe to a nonprofit, or maybe to a completely different industry? Or is there a passion that you want to pursue that you've been leaving off to the side that days aren't getting any shorter? If you want to do it, this is the time. So why should you spend any time with me? Well, this is interesting. It took me a long time to put these 2 slides together, but it goes like this. I'm the oldest of 6, and I started delivering newspapers so I could buy my own clothes at age 10. I got tired of hand-me-downs because my 2 little brothers were bigger than I was, and I didn't like the fact that I was wearing their clothes after they did. My father is an immigrant subsistence farmer from Nova Scotia, had a number of blue-collar jobs in the U.S. I still don't know how my mom and dad raised 6 of us. But 5 of us have graduate degrees, and the other one has a really good, thriving business. My brother is a TV meteorologist. My sister is a nurse anesthetist. So they gave us a good base to work from. I've had, and I counted this up a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't believe the number when I got there. I've had 44 paying jobs of $1,000 or more. And 11 years of doing this work counts as 1. So I worked for a lot of large, medium, and small corporations that are very, very well known. I started out of college at General Electric. After grad school, I did a consulting assignment at Anderson Consulting, and I also did an internship at Pillsbury, worked for Procter & Gamble, Shearing Plow, which is now part of Merck, Johnson & Johnson, Panasonic Batteries, Del Monte Foods, and then a whole bunch of other consulting projects in between. And there were times after the financial crisis when Uber and Lyft became en vogue that I racked up a lot of rides with them just to pay bills. So I've also been very active in sports, fundraising, and community activities. I still play competitive sports whenever I can. Played baseball through high school, college, and semi-pro till I was in my 30s, and made the over 50 all-star team in basketball in New Jersey when I was 60. So if I don't move, part of me dies. And this is another thing that is part of anything related to job search, is keep doing the things that make you feel good about you. And that's something I found out through a significant, lengthy unemployment after the financial crisis from August 2008 to June 2010. I will tell you that it sucked every bit of financial life out of me. And the reason I do this work is so that nobody has to experience what I did at that time in my life. It was horrendous. There's no other way to say it. I've had other unemployment before, but not to the point where that, wiped me out to the extent that did. So as far as career coaching, career counseling goes, I was fortunate enough to be awarded a graduate assistantship at Indiana University in their business placement office. So as a graduate MBA student, I was supporting undergraduate juniors and seniors in terms of finding their first internship or full-time job, which ironically enough, many, many years later became full circle the basis for what I'm doing right now. I didn't know until I started recruiting myself in the corporate world how effective that placement office was. There were 680 companies that came through. It was like Grand Central Station, and there were 2,000 graduates every year from the business school at Kelley Business School at Indiana University. So I started working with a gentleman named Henry Lesher back in 2013. He asked me to come to a job fair to help him. And literally there were lines out the door, 150, 200 people there, all looking for help with their resumes or their interviewing or whatever it was. And then I started working with clients and I said, you know what? This is a whole lot more fun marketing people than it ever was marketing products or services. And that's what I've been doing for 11 and a half years. And I've had some other project work inside and outside of that. I also wrote a book based on my experiences personally and professionally called Finding God's True Purpose for Your Career. It's what I call the roadmap, and I'm your Sherpa. And I'll get you to the top of the career mountain. And I've worked with over 650 or 645 clients in the last 11 years. I also, in New Jersey for about 6 years, pre-COVID, was the MC at job fairs. And I would give people advice on how to do things well that evening when they were interviewing with companies, and also have offline conversations with them depending on what they were looking to do. So that's a little background on me. And here's my approach to career development. I believe God put us all here for a variety of reasons, and career is one of the most important. So it's up to us to define and manifest what those reasons are in the best way that we can. And those change through the years. I've had 4 different careers. I started out as an engineer. I then went into marketing, brand management, then consulting, and then career development coaching. Okay, so I've had 4 careers. Surveys say that today, 20-somethings, recent graduates will have 6 careers in their lifetimes, not 6 jobs, and not 44, probably. You never know, but 6 careers. And because technology is changing so quickly, and adapting to what's going on is so important. If you want to connect with me on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we haven't been, this is what you'll see. The LinkedIn, I was in LinkedIn jail for a little over 2 years because I posted a picture of me smiling with a positive COVID test. Can't make this up. And I went permanently into jail, and 5,000 connections were down the tubes. And I'm just rebuilding that. Facebook, I have a little bit more presence on, but clearly we're here, so it doesn't really matter. But I will be starting a career growth group in Facebook and also on LinkedIn coming up. So just stay tuned. So this is something that Paula deals with every day. And I started asking myself as I began doing this work is, are you on the front 9 or the back 9 of life? Okay, now if I'm not on the back 9, that's going to be a bad news for somebody, because I don't want to live to be 130. How many days old are you? I'll turn 24,000 days later this summer. There's an app for this, so you can figure it out. The bottom line is, the more days you have behind you, the more precious the days in front of you become. And Yasmin, you can ignore me on this,
Amen.
but you can ignore me on this, but it's true. I mean, every day we wake up is an opportunity to contribute both to ourselves, to our families, to the people around us, to our companies and organizations in whatever way that is. My mother, who was born with spina bifida, they told her as a girl that she'd never walk without leg braces or have kids, and she had 6, lived 32,219 days, just over 88 years. She was a medical marvel because she just had such a fighting spirit about her. As it goes related to career development, is this the opportunity you've been given to make these major changes? Listen to a still small voice, which Polly, you vocalized as at the first part of this conversation, and somehow create a legacy. And again, what's on your epitaph may not be everything, but what's in your obituary is a really good summary of what it is that you've done to contribute to people's lives. How many of you, and this is by show of hands, how many of you right now are employed or generating an income? Show of hands. Okay.
I am.
And yep. And how many of you are in transition? I think we've already covered this. And Betty is not raising her hand, but I'll put her there. How many of you have had a life event? I've worked with probably 35, 40 clients who have had one thing or another, such as the following: major health issue, taking care of an elderly parent, or a sick or very, very injured child, where you basically had to drop out of the job market and then play that. And Irina, you're doing the same thing right now. Okay. So all of these matter. Life always wins above career, but these are definitely explainable situations. The way I had one guy who had a 5-year hiatus. He thought his mother was going to live a year, so he quit his job. She lived 5.5. And when he tried to get back in, it was really, really difficult. He was able to do it, but it's not easy. How many of you, and when I'm at a job fair, I list all of these, and usually I see people start to count their toes later on. How many of you have been either downsized, right-sized, laid off, reorged, let go, fired, furloughed, rift, which means reduction in force, forced out, or something else happened that you weren't anticipating? Just show of hands. Any or all of these? Chris, you've been very fortunate. Oh, there he is. There's hands going up now. Okay. It's the way
No.
of the world. It's the way of the world, for better or worse. And one of the things that I do as part of anybody that I'm working with is get you through the stages of grief quickly, so that you can move on to the next opportunity where somebody can rightly benefit from what you can do to add value. So my vision for you is to turn a job into a career into passion, get you off the bench and back into the game as soon as possible, receive the greatest amount of compensation for what you do, and create the highest level of satisfaction that we can. Commit to this week, and there'll be some homework assignments every night. They're not hard. It'll take you probably 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes to do them. You'll learn about yourself. You'll identify your goals and objectives. We'll put together a marketing and sales strategy for you, and you'll know how to promote yourself to the right hiring managers. And based on this search campaign, and I'm sorry, I made a typo here. This just bothers me to no end. Sorry. Got to take care of this on the fly. And then we'll talk about interviewing. And interviewing is not something that we can do, kind of one-on-one in a group setting, but I've done hundreds of interview coaching sessions through the years and preparing people in the way that they need to be so they can demonstrate what their value proposition is. Okay, which describes you, and we've kind of gone through all of this. I don't have to repeat it, but 10 to 30 years in a career and miserable. You made a bad choice for your employer or career, and I, already checked 2 of these boxes off. In transition, seeking a new path or a better role in a similar field. A new or recent college graduate saying, now what? And this is the other thing that I find that happens very, very often. You're either underpaid and you're worth more, or you feel unfulfilled, underutilized, you have understaffed, that means you're overworked, and you're undertrained and you get to be overwhelmed. All right, not uncommon in today's world. However, the unemployment rates have been low enough in the past, I'll say 6.5, 7 years, that companies realize that retention is a critically important part of their business model. If they don't keep good people, they're not going to be competitive. So the ability to move on from one company to the next is easier than you may think. This is what I would call the center of the focus of what I do, along with the faith-based aspect of it. And this is called Ikigai. And it was developed initially over in Japan, but it's been refined several times in the US. I pulled this meme off the internet a while ago. If I published it, I'd get myself sued, but here's what it is. The Venn diagram of that which you love, that which you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid well for is what I call the bullseye. And if you hit the bullseye, everybody wins. Ikigai in Japanese roughly means purpose or dharma, but it's more serious than that. What it really means is the reason to get out of bed in the morning. Okay, so purpose and dharma cover all of your life, whereas, career focus is a part of your life. And if you look at this little arrow here, again, everyone wins when you hit the bullseye. You first and then everybody around you. And I mean family, relatives, friends, coworkers, everything. When your career stuff is doing what you want it to do, everything starts to go better in other parts of your life. The famous author, who happened to be a pretty good philosopher as well, Mark Twain, said the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And those days do not just have to be one day, because there are reasons that you find out why you're existing or why you're here that can change for different subject areas at different times of your life. Okay, so this is not just a one-time event. At least that's not what I found. And for those of you who may have watched old movies before, this Steve Martin in The Jerk, he says, I found my special purpose. He was not referring to his career and his life purpose in that particular movie. It's worth seeing on YouTube if you get a chance. I played baseball, as I mentioned earlier, for over 20 years, from the time I was like 6. And I'm putting career and job search into a baseball field format. So just bear with me. The simplicity actually works. Before you even step out of the on-deck circle into the batter's box, you need to have a pretty good understanding of where your career goals and direction are. They can change, but if they're diametrically opposite to each other, you start one direction and go another, it's hard to move that battleship consistently. So when you understand what it is that you're looking for and why, and I have a whole bunch of exercises in my book, and I've worked with clients on them for years, and I have 7 of them, and those are pretty good definitions of why people want to do what they decide they want to do. Then we create a value proposition with resume, LinkedIn profile, and other social media as necessary. That's kind of phase 1. Phase 2, second base, is outreach and networking. Let's say, how do you get your new credentials in front of as many of the right people as possible? Third is interviewing and negotiating. And again, I've had people say to me, well, I'm going to take this interview for practice. I do not interview for practice. If you're going to spend your time, win the game, get the offer. If you decide you don't want the offer for one reason or another, that's fine. My goal with anybody that I'm working with is to get 2 or more offers somewhat simultaneously for a couple of reasons. Number 1, you have some negotiating leverage, and number 2, you have some options. The best client that I've worked with in 11 years had 3 offers in 4 weeks, even though she was working 60 hours a week. That's how good her reputation was in the industry. I've also worked with clients for as long as 2 years. One guy working 6 days a week, when he finally got laid off from a large food company, he had 2 offers within 6 weeks because we had done all the groundwork and he was ready to go. So when you do all these properly, you score the run, you land the dream job or career that you've been looking for. And that is the reason why I do this. And I know it's the reason why you're on this call. So again, I'm going to go back to what the agenda is all about. Get an interview for your dream job next week, which can absolutely happen if you follow the steps that I'm going to show you. We talked about this before. Is this the time to make changes in your life or career, pursue something you've already loved or you've always loved, and do something you've never done before? And is it the time to work with somebody who's been there and back several times? And that would be yours truly. I was trying to take the capitals out of this, but I clearly didn't put all the letters back in. And here we go. Been there and back several times. And this is the one mention for why that's a valuable exercise, because I believe your destiny is in the balance. If you understate what it is that you can do, and I've seen people do this for a long, long time, you may be worth 100K a year, 150, 200K, but you're used to where you are and they're paying you 40% less than that, and you take it, you accept it. I have found that people are way better than they think they are. And that's one of the reasons why, another reason why I do this work. I am not what has happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Again, the choice to become is the big thing. 10 years from now, make sure you can say that you chose your life. You didn't settle for it. So working with a career coach, whether it's me or somebody else, is really an investment in your future. And most, if not all of you, have college degrees that you invested a lot of time, money, energy, and effort to earn. And it's also a basis for continued career growth. Once you learn the principles of this, you can take this with you the rest of your life. It's not really an expense in the traditional sense. It's more of an investment because there's an opportunity cost. If you happen to be in transition right now and you're worth $100,000 a year, that is roughly in a 50-week year, $2,000 a week, $400 a day. If you're 200K a year, it's $800 a day. So if you gain employment a week or two sooner working with a coach, it pays out, especially if you get an increase in salary. I've worked with a number of clients who have gotten significant increases in salary, maybe not just the first time, but the second time we worked together certainly is that. Again, I'm being a little, using the comparison of climbing a mountain with a Sherpa, but you would never do that. You wouldn't climb Mount Everest without a Sherpa. Every famous athlete that you see on television has had dozens of coaches in their career, and some of them have half a dozen coaches right now. Like Kobe Bryant had 7 coaches before he was killed in a helicopter accident. Tiger Woods has had numerous coaches for different parts of what they need to do. So what's holding you back from what you want? I don't know enough. Some of you, I don't know well enough to say what that is, but I'm using a Bible verse here from Proverbs that says, as iron sharpens iron, so does one person sharpen another. And take inventory. Where are you now? If you're experimenting and trying new things, fail forward fast. If they're not going to work, figure that out quickly and move on. Keep a positive attitude. Remember that any of the situations that you've all brought up with me here, this too shall pass, but it'll take some work on your end and it'll take some other stuff happening on around you to happen to make that so that you'll get what you're really looking for. And just be committed to the better outcome and it will manifest. I'm going to switch gears a little bit here and talk about gratitude. I've done a lot of work on this in terms of reading, in terms of actual gratitude practice myself, but the bottom line is you can rewire your brain to be happy by simply recalling 3 things you're grateful for every day for 21 days. I found somebody recently who said that every day they put a gratitude note in a jar, and at the end of the year, they take them out and read them. And it's just a reminder of all the things that we have to be grateful for. I have a list of about 85 things on one page that I constantly look at and just say, you know what, I'm grateful for these people in my lives, these circumstances, et cetera, et cetera. I extracted a meme from The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Gratitude is a powerful process for shifting your energy and bringing more of what you want into your life. Be grateful for what you already have and you will attract more good things. What are you grateful for today? The most extreme example that I've ever seen of this was a guy that I read about who had a gratitude box. And in his gratitude box, he would put different sayings and he would put pictures from magazines. And he said to God, to the universe, however you want to describe it, I want to get a house in a beach community. And he did. About 5 years after he'd started with the box, and he packed all his boxes, and then he's unpacking the box when he got to his new house, and he took out a picture of the house he had just moved into. He put it in the box 5 years prior. Your mind works that way. It's called the reticular activating system. And when you train it, both subconsciously and consciously, to focus on the great things that are all around you as opposed to the negative things, more of that it's like a boomerang, more of that will manifest for you. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put the clock on here for about 60 seconds. And I'm going to ask you to take out a pen and just write the things that you are grateful for today. Go. And Paul, if you're still driving, certainly that doesn't apply to you.
I'll do it in my head.
No problem. And I'm just noticing that each of you are diligently writing away. It comes easy when you ask it. That's 45 seconds, so just a few more. Okay, time. Part of this, you've just done part of the homework for this evening, and I'll ask you to expand on that after we finish the call or sometime tomorrow morning before we get together tomorrow evening. Bottom line is gratitude is a very powerful force. Refer to this list often throughout your search, and you will be then emitting the positive energy that you need to attract the right opportunities around you. Okay, so homework for day one. And again, this is all about you grounding yourself in what you want to do and why, and what your goals are as best you can describe them at this point. Dreams for your life, as best you can define them. I have an exercise that breaks that down into 14 different categories. I won't go through it until tomorrow. What are the key things that you're looking for in the next, let's say, 2, 5, 10 years of your life? We already started the list of what you're grateful for. And then, as best you can right now, and some of you it's pretty clear, and others it may not be, career purpose, mission, and objective. My purpose in doing this work, and I'll just share this with you, it doesn't have to be yours, obviously, is to support 1 million or more people in terms of defining and manifesting their career goals in alignment with their faith. And I'm a long way from 1 million. I'll just be clear on that, but I'm taking the steps that will get me closer to that every day. And then the little meme on the right that says, don't downgrade your dream just to fit your reality, upgrade your conviction to match your destiny. There's a German philosopher, late 1800s, named Friedrich Nietzsche, and he's like 9 letters. It's like, anyway, his most famous, for me, philosophical statement was this: become what you are. It's already inside you. Okay. So the other thing I want to bring up here tonight is that if for any reason you have to miss the calls or you want to see replays, and there's some other things that go along with this, you'll get a copy of my ebook and a bonus one-on-one call at the end of the week, or maybe early next week if your calendar doesn't allow that, and lifetime access to these recordings. It's what I call the VIP program, which would be $47. If you decide you want to do that, you can either Zelle or Venmo me, whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be tonight, but if you decide you want to do that between now and the end of the week, that would be great. And then you'll be able to kind of relive what this is all about as necessary, because we're going to go into a lot of step-by-step detail in the next 4 nights. So I will open it up to questions, thoughts, reactions, etc. Not all at once. Anybody?
Well, I like what you have, the homework actually, the purpose, the mission, and the objective. So it gets me to try to clarify, what I want to do for, like, let's say the next 2, 5, 10 years, which is still, kind of ambiguous in my head. And I definitely need to narrow it down, because ambiguity leads to nothing.
Correct. And I've used this example numerous times. If you put a boat in the Atlantic and say, Gulf Stream, take me, you'll eventually get somewhere in Europe. You have no idea where, but the currents will take you there, which is what happens when you swim with the drift, let's call it, in life or in the ocean, whatever it might be. But if you tell the boat and you tell your navigation system and whatever you're putting in your boat in terms of supplies, in terms of, weather gear, whatever it might be, that you want to be in Lisbon, Portugal in 3 weeks, then your whole trajectory of how you make the trip changes. And like any pilot that takes off from one airport that goes to the next, there's constant adjustment along the way to get to the desired destination. So clarity about what the destination is will be as important as actually getting there.
Do you believe in following your intuition?
Yes, I believe following your intuition is something that people have forgotten how to do in this society, because we have all been born with an innate understanding of both ourselves and a lot more things around us than we give ourselves credit for. Hunches, which can be called intuition, I don't necessarily believe in. I believe in filtering your intuition to make sure that it's going to be something viable that you want to do, especially if it's going to be a lot of time, money, energy, and effort. But if you're, I mean, I'll use another example. Like if you're in a car and you're saying, I wonder if I should go left or right here. This is before the days of GPS. And you say, feels to me like I should go left. And you go left and you end up getting to where you want to go to more quickly because your intuition told you that. I don't think people listen to their own voices enough, their own intuition enough, because there's, and this is personal philosophy, there's too much noise around us. There's noise in every part of every day at every time. I mean, you can't even get out on an airplane right now without having people have access to you by Wi-Fi in whatever way that means. So I think intuition with a healthy dose of pragmatism is a very, very strong combination.
Thanks. That's what I want to do. I don't want to just write something down and blindly, run towards it. I want to write something down and use my intuition to help guide me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other thoughts or I'm just going to go back up
Bill,
to yeah, go ahead.
Bill, what? I have this ongoing thought, and actually a pad full of notes of wanting to open up my own business.
Okay.
And it's something that keeps coming to my mind, but the procrastination, because I'm always working to survive with, raising my daughter and keeping my roof over my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid, and I don't want it. Maybe it's afraid. Maybe I don't know what the word is, but to leap into doing it. And what happens is I keep getting the right direction of things to help me do it, but yet I'm not taking the plunge.
You are not alone by any stretch, because oftentimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Oh, and I've been living with the devil for quite some time. That's why
yeah.
I'm getting baptized on Sunday.
Aha, congratulations.
Thank you.
This is for a longer offline conversation, but very top line is that if this, let's just call it feeling, messaging, thoughts are bubbling up on a regular basis, and you've written them down and you've taken enough notes so that you have a good idea of what it is that you'd want to do and why. Now
I even bought names on GoDaddy last year and opened up a business just so in case I do it. But my situation, single mom, no family, no, doing something of that magnitude on my own kind of scares me to a point. Like, I know that if I do venture, it will be successful because I know how hard I work and the connections I have, and God doesn't put things in your path for no reasons at all.
Understood. I've had that conversation with myself a couple of times making career changes. The first time was fairly easy. I went to grad school and I made one career change, but dropping out of corporate and becoming a consultant was a big shift. And then moving from consulting in healthcare and pharmaceuticals into doing this work was also a big shift. And I worked with lots and lots of people who, through mindset reinforcement and various other NLP exercises and other things to kind of, it's basically like getting into physical shape to run a marathon, only it's different. Starting a business is a similar type of thing. It's not a sprint. And I don't know what your business idea is. If you want to share it, that's great. If not, we can certainly talk offline. The bottom line
Offline.
is, yeah, that's fine. The bottom line is that it's not coming to you accidentally, and especially if it's been way, way, way more than once, which is what you're describing.
Oh, and the thing is, every time I say, well, I really need to do this, next thing I know, boom, this shows up. And
Okay.
and I'm still not running with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm catching it, but I'm standing still.
Okay. Well, there's another part of this is don't be too hard on yourself because of the pragmatic logistics of your current situation that you just briefly described. So every day you get up is a new day to make a start at something. And I know a lot of people who have done very well with a plan B, let's call it. And then the plan B
I
either
feel like I'm living plan B and I want plan A.
understood. But what I'm saying, I mean, when I say plan B, I mean a secondary source of income that then becomes the primary source of income. Okay, after a period of time. Or I know a lot of people who just say, you know what? Next Friday is my last day and I'm starting this business and I have X amount of dollars to live on until it becomes successful and
Yeah,
profitable. And we go from
that's
there.
the problem. I don't, Bill. And I'll make you laugh. I just watched the movie Nona, which is
Okay.
about the restaurant that opened up in Staten Island and a man who opened this restaurant on his own, using every penny of his
Hmm.
savings, and what he did, how he did it to get where he wanted to get, and it's a successful business now.
It's great.
On his last chance. It's a great Netflix flick.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know lots and lots of people who have taken that pathway. It is not easy. Once you get to the other side, though,
No,
you feel like you're in Australian rules football and you go like this, like you just scored a touchdown and you just made it work because you were put here to do something like what you're describing. So I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you,
right.
either
That's
later
how
on in
I
the week
feel.
or
I
next
feel
week.
like although I have a very good purpose in life with helping those in need,
Hmm.
this would surpass and also help me succeed in the way I will feel I deserve to succeed. If that makes any sense.
100%, 100, absolutely makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. So thanks for putting that out there while you're driving in the
Ah,
shadows.
do you believe I'm still driving home from work
No, that's
from
this.
a
Okay,
quarter to
so
nine?
exactly, exactly. Anybody else thoughts about what we just went over? And I'm showing the homework again just to make sure everybody got it. And if there are no other thoughts or comments, then we'll leave it till tomorrow night at 7. 7 Central, 8 Eastern, and we will go through creating and implementing your value proposition. And there'll be some more stuff we can do for tomorrow night. Any other thoughts, reactions, questions?
No,
Thank you
but
very
thank
much.
you very much for
It
the
was
night.
good. It was very good. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thanks for your collective participation. James, go ahead. Are you waving or you have a question? Oh, okay, great. I was going to say you're on mute if you do. Um, we'll see you tomorrow night, same bat time, same bat channel. I know I'm dating myself when I say that, but that's okay. Batman used to be a big show on television. So have a good night, everybody. Peace
Thank
out.
you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.